from Two Broads Talking Politics, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. And joining me today, as ever, is my co-host, Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hello, Sophie. 2020 is the year of technical difficulties, I've decided.
It is, but that's okay, because hopefully technical difficulties will be the only difficulty. And joining us today as well is Joan Greene. She is running for election to Congress from Arizona's 5th Congressional District. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Can you just sort of start off by introducing yourself to our listeners? Tell us a little bit about who you are and sort of how you came to be running for Congress.
Perfect. Great. My name is Joan Greene, as you all said, and I am an Arizona native. Grew up in Arizona, went to college in Tucson at the University of Arizona, received my psychology degree, and then moved back to Phoenix and started my business 33 years ago. So I am a small business owner, and during that 33 years, I've also had a couple additional businesses that I've run at the same time. So just crazy, right? I'm heavily involved in rescue work because I believe that we should extend our hand to those in need, and it just so happened to be pups and kittens. And so I have a huge vet bill and always a dog hair on me. So that's okay. I'm running because right now in our district, and it's been going on for quite a bit of time with this person, is that, you know, we need a Captain Sully to land the plane and get everybody safely. And my opponent is actually the captain of the Titanic. He's going to take everyone down with us. So I'm running not because he's a Republican, but because of his policies. And he has done everything in his power in the past 20 years to hurt our families and our community. And that started when he was in the state Senate and the House, from taking away, trying to stop our Medicaid expansion. We have a program called Kids Care here, which would extend health care for our low-income families. He's taken away funding for education. But keeping in mind, everything that he takes away, he and his cronies benefit financially from it. So that's why I'm running. We need somebody who's honest.
So tell us a little bit about the Arizona 5th District. It seems like, you know, just sort of looking at a map, it's not that far from Phoenix. It seems like it should be kind of a blue area, but on paper it looks, you know, like it's been going for Republicans. So what's going on? What kind of district is this? And then what do you see as kind of your path to victory?
So you mentioned Phoenix. Well, Arizona's 5th is just like a little suburb out there. So it's, you know, so you have Phoenix, then, you know, depending on where you live, a couple miles away, it's Mesa or Chandler. So it's all linked into each other. So it's all little cities. We are a purple district. We're about a third, maybe a little bit more Republican there or independent than Democrat. But we have the majority is independent because we have people who they like that choice and that freedom to vote however they want to vote. We know that it's not a red district because in the last cycle I ran, we received 127,027 votes, which meant we set records in our district for a Democrat to vote for a first-time candidate. And we know that we received our votes from our Republicans and our independents. So we have a wide range of support there. We also have, in our area, we have a very large faction of the Tea Party, which is the far right wing, and which would be considered the Freedom Caucus in Congress right now. And like most minorities, they have the loudest voices. So they're trying to do the self-fulfilling prophecy, which is not happening. So the self-fulfilling prophecy is if we say we're red, then everybody believes we're red. So nobody will run here because they'll be afraid that they'll lose. And I say, to heck with that. We all want the same thing, you know, education, healthcare, environment. And they're losing that battle.
You mentioned that you ran in 2018 and now you're running again 2 years later. Can you talk a little bit? Do you have any sense of the atmosphere having changed? What seems different to you this time around than 2018?
For me personally and listening to the people, because so in 2018, people were voted for Trump, right? Because they wanted a change or they didn't like Clinton, okay? And I understand that, because even though he came down the escalator being racist, even though he told us who he was, people still didn't really kind of grasp that. But now he's shown the people, okay, and it goes against their values. Andy Biggs my opponent has never been popular out here. He's just skated by on a letter. And again, the loudest minority voice. We have a large retirement communities out here, and they would appreciate not having their Social Security or Medicare taken away from them. So we're watching this, and we're not unique all over the country. People are frightened. People are fearful. People are like, this is not what I signed up for. We thought we might have a little policy disagreement. We just didn't realize that our life was going to be in the well of horror, so to speak.
You mentioned healthcare as something that people are continuing to be concerned about, continuing to look at as an important issue. That was certainly true in the 2018 election.
Right.
What are the kinds of things that you would like to see Congress doing to improve healthcare and healthcare access?
Well, we need to strengthen our affordable care. All right. And we have a country that's big on choice. We do it every day in our lives. We choose what restaurant we're going to go to. We're going to choose where we are on vacation. So people really don't like things like thrust on them. So we need to strengthen our Affordable Care Act, because that's what people want. And then we need to add into there the choice of people who want to buy into Medicare. So instead of being 65 and going into that, if you're 50 years old, you can buy into it at a little higher cost. If you're 30 years old, you can buy into it at a little higher cost. And then the older you go, then the lower your monthly premiums are. People can keep their particular health care. Our unions have their own insurance that they've negotiated for. They should be able to keep that. If you want to keep your own private insurance, go for it. Because eventually what's going to happen is that people will see that there isn't a better way to do it. But again, we're a nation who likes choice, but is also fearful. Does that make sense? They're fearful of change. So when I talk to our Republican neighbors and our friends, we all want the same thing. They all want health care that includes pre-existing conditions. They all want lower drug costs, and we can do that. We live by the border, and unfortunately, because our costs are so high, people actually go into Mexico to get the medical services that they need. We shouldn't have to do that.
So we talked a little bit about healthcare. Can you tell us maybe a couple of the other issues that keep coming up when you talk to voters in the 5th?
Climate. And our environment is a big one. People are literally in tears because they are afraid for what the future is. And climate also includes our public lands that, again, my opponent is trying to sell to the lowest bidder. We have our national monuments, Oregon Pike, where they're bulldozing our cacti to build this wall that nobody wanted because he came down an escalator, right? And so, they're trying to make something fit a narrative that was never going to happen. Again, Arizona, water. Where's our water going to come from? Right now, we have a limited amount of water, and it's being used for corporate farming. So we have alfalfa and hemp being grown and then being shipped to Saudi Arabia because they don't have water, but they don't have a problem taking our water. And that's the local governor here who's not looking out for our best interests. That's for sure. So environment, healthcare, and education's a big one. So we need to make sure that every zip code has the opportunity to have a great education and an affordable education should they choose to move on from high school, whether it's vocational or a 2-year or a 4-year. That doesn't put them into bankruptcy.
You mentioned that you have started a few businesses. What sort of perspective does that give you on legislating and being in Congress? What are kind of the resume building things from that you think are valuable for a job in Congress?
Well, the people I work with, my clients range from mom and pop to multi-billion-dollar corporations, and they all have one thing in common. They all had a problem, and they came to me to help solve it, which I did. So my business, after 33 years, has taught me how to solve problems realistically, not a pie in the sky. If you came to me with a problem and you thought you needed a solution, I'm not afraid to tell you no and bring to you a solution that, yes, that will work. So we need somebody who is realistic, who can look at all sides of the problem, if need be, go to experts, and know how to communicate with everybody, because that's who we're dealing with. We're dealing with people whose lives are on the line, whose kitchen table issues, we every day we run a household like a business. And so we need people who can speak the language of the people. And my opponent, he's not qualified. He made his money winning $10 million in the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Remember Ed McMahon?
Yeah.
He was that guy, lucky guy, right? But it didn't make him qualified. What that did is that made him continue to be the person that he was, which, so for 20 years, as a staunch conservative that he is, and wanting to take away they're not even benefits, we own them, the Social Security and the Medicare, taking it away. He's never worked a day in his life. He might have before he won it, but not successfully and not for a long time. But instead, he's spent 20 years living off of our taxpayer dollars. So he's out of touch. He doesn't understand what it's like to figure out, how do we make our bills? How do I feed my child and provide school books and shoes? And he doesn't care to understand that, which is really the shame of it all.
Has anything surprised you about running for office?
I think the surprise is so pleasant is that I've built these great friendships from the community, people who want to help, people who see that all they needed was somebody who would take the lead, and they would be glad to help and be successful. And that's just been amazing. And I have great relationships with other local and throughout the country, other candidates who are running. So for me, that's the best part. If you're running looking for the party to help you, don't. You're going to get, it's not going to happen unless you're, raising a boatload of money. So that was a surprising part, because you would think that they'd be really, thrilled to death that anybody, would want to take on that challenge and make our community better.
In a year with a presidential election and what's going to be a very hard-fought Senate race in Arizona as well, are you expecting this to be a higher turnout year than in 2018?
Yeah, we set records for turnout in 2018. So the way that we'll get it even higher is we're already working in our scenes to get the more people out to register to vote. We have other grassroots people who aren't part of our team, but who are out there doing that, which I'm grateful for. And Mark Kelly is going to be fabulous. So he's going to bring out the people. We have a great slate of down ballot people who are coming in. People are finally, coming in and saying, man, I didn't know this was happening behind the scenes when the Republicans were running this. So we have an active campaign. Is when you know better, you vote better. And we don't have to tell any lies. All we have to do is point to the record. They tell us. They showed us who they were. We're just amplifying their voice.
So if our listeners want to help out with your campaign, how can they do that?
Oh, my gosh. Well, you'd get a terrific gift of a thank you, right, on the line. But they would go to Joan Greene AZ, and that's JoanGreene, GREENEAZ.com. And you can sign up for our email and get our newsletters. You can volunteer. You can donate. You can send me a little note that says, way to go. And just let me know that you're out there rooting for us.
Is there anything else that you want to make sure we talk about?
I want to make sure that people know that we're going to win this because we're a community. And I believe strongly that when we work together, we thrive together. And we're a community that believes in extending our hand to those in need. And we don't hold people down. We want to lift everybody up. And we just need to go back to the time where we knew our neighbors. We weren't fighting with our neighbors. And we need people to be able to unify our district and our state, and I'm excited to be able to be that one to inspire the folks.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And when we post this episode, we will post information about your website and your social media on our website so that people can find you and can help your campaign. We're so excited to really shift Arizona totally blue. It's been going that way for a while, but just sort of push it over the edge now.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that you guys actually understand the value that no inch of our country should be ignored. There is no red. There's only people who weren't aware of that they can make a change.
Thank you for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics, part of the Dimcast Podcast Network. Our theme song is called Are You Listening off of the album Elephant Shaped Trees by the band Immunuri, and we're using it with permission of the band. Our logo and other original artwork is by Matthew Weflin and was created for use by this podcast. You can contact us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com or on Twitter or Facebook at Two Broads Talk. You can find all of our episodes at twobroadstalkingpolitics.com or anywhere podcasts are found.